Money fights don't start with money. They start with control, fear, and expectations.
Today we're talking about who should control the money in the relationship and why that's such a heated topic.
Let's start talking.
You're listening to the podcast where we talk about life, sports, family, and everything in between. Welcome to Just Talking Out Loud with your hosts, Ron and Terry.
Hello, welcome to the show. I'm Ron.
And I'm Terry.
Yeah, today we're talking about money.
Money's always a taboo subject.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, most couples seem to work it out. If they have a long-term marriage, they do. But I do know people who keep their money separate, and that's how they've always done it, and that's how they'll always do it. And, you know, they do that because it's his money and her money. He pays for certain household things. She pays for her certain household things, and that works for them.
Right.
And maybe that's because one of them has too much credit card debt, or one of them likes to spend too much, so he says to her or she says to him, okay, then this is what I expect out of you.
Yeah, you jumped the gun on me.
I did. Was that one of them?
Yeah, you jumped the gun because I was going to say, how do people usually do it?
Well, I know some people do that. I think in relationships nowadays, people move in together before they get married.
Yeah, so they're separate.
So they keep it. And then some of them that was working, so they just keep it that way.
Yeah, we're going to start with the three ways that people usually do it. Number one person handles everything. And I can say from our experience of being, hold on. We're not, Anyway, from our experience, I never even thought about it. We got married, we made one account, the money went into that account. Done.
Both paychecks went in.
And you handled the money.
And I handled the money. And that's when we were poor. We were making $3.35. That was minimum wage back when we got married.
Would you say that's a boomer thing? Or depending on age, that back then we just did it as one account and didn't think anything of it?
We didn't question it. I didn't
even think about it.
Yeah, we didn't think about it. We just put it in. I worked at the bank at the time, so it was easier for me to keep track of it.
Right.
And we didn't have online banking and phones and stuff back then, so I could check our account when I was, I just didn't. I just went into it. So that's one person handles everything, which is she was doing in the beginning, and then I started handling it once you went to the. That's back when we didn't have direct deposit either. We had to take the paycheck, and I just took them to work with me and
made checks out.
Yeah, and
I gave them out.
I gave them to one of the other tellers. We weren't allowed to do our own banking.
No stamps involved. Oh, no stamps now, but there were stamps involved back when we did it.
Well, but you could go down to the one pharmacy and pay our utilities. And usually...
I don't think we ever did.
I think I did.
Did you?
When I had the rotating day off, if I had I did.
Really?
Because I had Monday off, Tuesday off, Wednesday off, Thursday off, Friday off. I could go in on the rotating day as long as it wasn't making one of our utilities late.
How do you handle your money in your situation? How do you, as in a relationship, if you're married or maybe you're living together, is it separate but you put in one account? Like there is shared responsibilities. That's number two. So I guess that would be where both would kind of share in
responsibilities of paying the bills.
Is that how that works, or are we
like
doing?
I said, when they do two accounts, I expect you to pay these bills. You expect me to pay these bills.
Or does that go into one account? So you have your separate, and then you take so much money out to put it in one account
to pay the bills.
I mean, you can do that.
Yeah.
And then there's total separate finances where, like you said, one person maybe pays certain utilities.
And the other person pays the mortgage, or they're expected to give me a couple $100 of that mortgage if they make less, or you know what I mean? I don't know.
Because when it comes down to if you have the mortgage, then the taxes are rolled in. You know what I mean? Usually.
Yeah, we always have done that. I see something right here. Is it sticking straight out?
I don't know.
I just see it sticking straight out. So I just keep looking when I go like this.
Yeah, Terry's hairdresser was on site today, so that's why she always looks good.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about which one feels fair to you. In other words, You have the one person handles everything. You have shared responsibilities, and you have total separate finances. So which one do you think feels right? I mean, are you okay with, you leave it in the comments, are you okay with whatever situation you're in, or do sometimes you feel like it's leaning one way or the other?
Well, I'll say in our case,
Yes.
I got the job when we had no money, and
Yes.
we were budgeted down to 97
I
cents in
know.
the checkbook. And if someone got sick and had to go to the doctor, the charge card came out. Then I had to rebudget the next month's
I
money
get it.
to pay
I
that
get it.
charge off
Yep.
to get it all paid off, because we usually had to go, if one of the kids got sick and they needed the doctor and they needed medicine and pharmacy and then we had to, although insurance was better back then, I will say that.
Our medical insurance.
Yeah, our medical insurance was better then. And
I
a
think
lot of times our doctor's office would give us samples back then. Like if the kids were sick and they needed Augmentin or amoxicillin, if they had samples in the doctor's office, he would ask me how tight I am, and I'd be like, pretty tight, and they would give us samples.
Yeah, I don't know if they do that anymore or not.
I don't know. I know they, I don't know if they even do that anymore.
Depending on the doctor, I guess. If it's an old school doctor, he might say, "Here, try this." Which one do you think though feels the most fair? If you're
I
thinking
think
of
shared responsibility sounds the most fair,
most fair.
but some people are better with money than other people.
That is true too.
I mean, I always made ends meet, and I listed everything out though that we needed. I got the calendar out, burger, chicken, whatever I was eating for it, and then I went to my freezer, saw what I had in there, saw what I needed to buy, wrote out my list, bread, diapers, this, that, and
you had a budget to a certain extent.
Yeah, and I just got what was on the list. And I remember neighbors running to the store because they didn't have a certain spice or something. And I'm like, I keep Italian seasonings in my cupboard all the time. And if I run out of oregano, guess what? Italian seasoning goes into the
It's
recipe.
going to go in there regardless.
If I compromised with things, and I did not run to the store if I forgot something for a recipe or something. I just didn't do it. We didn't have the money in our budget to do it.
Yeah.
We would have been using the charge all the time, and I would have been
That's what gets
behind,
you in trouble is a charge card, for sure.
And that was a decision we made when I stayed home after I got pregnant for Nathan, though, too.
Yeah, it was tighter then because we went down from you had a job, I had a job, to once the kid second
because
one.
then,
right, 'cause RJ,
then I went part-time for a while.
You went part-time. And back then, I mean, we weren't making a lot of money. I mean, it was like, I think I was working at
Daycare was going to
Millcraft,
take all
right?
my money. And when we got pregnant for the second one, your mom watched RJ for free for us, which was a blessing. But then I didn't feel like we should drop 2 off to her. She probably would have done it, but I liked being part-time. And then they wouldn't let me off for Angela's wedding, and that's why I ended up quitting.
Yeah, it's tough today. I mean, we're going back to our first, we're talking 40 years ago. Well, no, I'm sorry. No.
Yes,
well,
it is 40 years ago.
Well, 38 if you count our firstborn. When our firstborn,
He just turned 39.
I know. So 38 years ago, whatever. And it changes. And now with prices higher and daycares are so,
Daycares were expensive then, too, though, because it was going to be my whole paycheck.
Well, because
almost.
if you look at it, it kind of, even though I was making $10 or $11 an hour then, and that was back in 80.
When we
87.
first got married, minimum wage was $3.35, and I think you were making a little over that, and so was I.
Well, I was making more than that,
because
though.
every year I got like a 5-cent raise or something like that.
I'm pretty sure I was making
Because
more than that.
I just remember when I was pregnant for RJ going in, and they told me I got one of the biggest raises in the office, and I thought, and I said, well, looked right up, and I said, my husband's, what'd they call it back then? They called it a cost of living raise is $0.25 and you're giving me
Yeah, it was a quarter.
5. I said, I can divide down. That's less than 5 cents an hour. And my husband's cost of living raise is a quarter. And she just looked at me. I'm like,
Well, I mean, back then and then today, it's like I said, it is what it is. You have to deal with what you're given. But yeah, I thought I was making a little bit more than that at Milk Crate. But I know I was making $3.35 when I first started at Foodland, maybe $3.50. That was back when I was
yeah,
in
because
high
they
school.
gave me,
So the bag would have been at least a little
they
bit
gave me
over
a
5.
nice, a little bit of a raise at the
really-
Foodland too.
We're really dating ourselves.
Yeah, we are.
We're old. So, okay, you think the shared responsibilities obviously feels more fair.
It feels more fair, but like I said, some people might say, hey, we got an extra this much and spend it rather than save it for, and that's the other thing. We actually put so much away, a pay, in another account for car insurance, life insurance, all that stuff. I had that budgeted.
You pulled
I
money.
had it organized. I had a calendar with what we were eating. I had it down to diapers, and I actually used cloth diapers at home sometimes. Well, sometimes it was because kids and rashes and stuff. My kids could not wear perfume diapers, and that's all they had out then
Yeah.
until we found those baking
You had to
soda
do-
ones.
We had to do the what do you call those?
The cloth diapers.
Cloth diapers. Oh man. And after what we just had done this weekend, when
With
Beckett was right here, not far from the camera, and he got up and said, "Poop, poop," and he
I
had poop
pooped
everywhere. He had a major explosion.
Yeah, so,
Some of those diapers can't contain it.
oh yeah, and so that's
Anyway.
hasn't changed very much.
No, not really.
That one didn't contain it either.
And which one causes, do you think, the most fights?
Maybe shared would cause the most fights because I see what you spent last month when I'm doing the checkbook.
If you
this
know
month.
with each other, if you know.
Yeah.
Well, you're saying if it all goes into one, because if it's shared,
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a share, so if you have two separate, it goes into one, then you would know each one is pulling.
Their weight.
own.
Yeah.
And if one says, "Well, I can't do it this
Time.
time," then that means that well, of course, we never know. I mean, it could be any type of expense nowadays. You know, it could
Yeah.
be car breaks down.
Car
That's
breaks
the last
down.
thing you need.
Health problems.
Yeah, that's the other. Well,
I mean,
yeah, that's the
our
other one.
kids, their insurance has an $8,000 deductible. So if you go to 2 specialists, you're like minus money.
Okay, now it's time for honesty. You ready?
Okay.
Okay.
We're ready.
Who's better at budgeting? Now I will answer this first. You go second. Okay.
Okay.
Terry's definitely better at budgeting, and a lot of it is just. And I'm getting better at it, being that I'm in charge of it. But you were 10 times
And
better
I
because
will
you have a background. Let's not forget you do
I have
have
a
a business
finance
background, so that helps too.
But I will say, and I do better budgeting when I'm in charge of the checkbook.
Yes.
Because right now he's in charge of the checkbook and I want to go to the grocery store because
go.
something's on sale. I go and I just buy
She
it.
free spends.
But I could not have done that
no, not back
when
then.
we were young.
No.
I couldn't. Like if just because chicken was on sale, I couldn't buy 2 packages, which I do now.
Yeah.
And
I think the other thing that I want to stress too that helps, if you are in a saving mode early in life, in other words, if you can put money away,
like
when
Nathan
you're
did
20,
when he
Nathan
was
did.
still living
When you're
home
20,
and
right?
working gas and oil
you don't
fields.
seem to miss it as much because that money is automatically going into an account, and it's a savings for your. I don't want to say 401k, but it's a nest egg, but it's also if you can put it away.
But
into
he
some
put
type
it in
of a savings.
retirement, and that's
Yeah.
a good thing he did because
Absolutely.
now
Nowadays, we don't know.
now he will have a retirement even if he ever
And you can't count on 401ks.
No.
You really don't know.
the pensions and
Well,
stuff.
today's,
and-
well, there is no pensions anymore, unless you are a state job, and those are hard to find. So
Yeah.
there used to be pensions, like the Fairmont job was a pension, and they changed that
yeah,
to a 401k. So a lot of them are not pensions, unless you're part of a state type thing, or the school. And that's
and then
why,
some of those 401ks or whatever they call them Ross, they call them
Yeah, they're
different
all
things
different,
that you're
yeah.
putting into.
Yeah.
They have penalties. So, you don't get all that money if you need it ahead of time. Or if you break up and one gets part of it or whatever, they take penalties, all kinds of penalties
yeah.
out of it.
So who's better at budgeting in
Your
you? Of course, you might say you, and he might say you.
Him.
Who's checks the bank account more often? Well, it's me because you normally would. We got money.
But I do
We're-
ask occasionally if there's money
we got
in
money.
there.
We're good. We're paying the bills. She retired, so I was worried about, especially after buying 2 new cars, which I did not want to do.
We've never had 2 car payments in
Ever
our
have
life.
done that, ever. And I'm blessed for the job that I have, and I thank the good Lord for that. But it still is tight because I did not want.
Well, so
2
my
vehicles.
retirement that I'm getting is paying back our savings, which is your
Which
truck
has helped
payment.
paying the truck payment. Yes. And the way we did that, the way we refinanced,
It worked out, so you don't
well.
have to work that into the bills.
But
anyhow.
it's not something that I would recommend. I mean, I'm sure people have to have 2 car payments. They've got
Well,
a
and
house
if they have
payment.
2 people working, like if I was still working, it probably wouldn't have been a problem at all.
Yeah.
Because I'd had my paycheck to pay my car
Yeah,
payment.
but we're doing okay. I mean,
We're doing-
I think we're doing good.
We're doing
We're doing
great.
one paycheck plus your pension, part of your pension. We're not getting, you're not getting any Social Security yet.
And we
We're
don't
waiting on that.
We don't see any of my pension. We have it
No,
put
we've
in
not
an
seen-
extra
Yes.
in a different bank.
That's right.
We have that truck payment done through
So-
that,
right.
and the rest of it just sits in savings.
Exactly. Who stresses more about money? I think I've gotten better over time, but I don't think I'm stressing about it. But I can see where stress can work into it. Let's be honest.
I used to put my Christmas money away in our insurance account.
Probably should do
because
that again.
I used to put that right away from us in my insurance account to make sure I had the money for the insurances and stuff when it came in. If you had overtime, it went right into that insurance
Right.
account. That way I knew I had things. And that's how we went on vacations too. And we did not have extravagant vacations when our kids were
No,
little.
we didn't. We went
We
to
shared.
SeaWorld when it was open.
Yeah, well, but even when we went to the beach, we shared
Yeah.
with someone else. We
That's right.
shared
Yeah.
living expenses
Friends of
for
ours
the week.
went with us,
Mhm.
and that helped.
And yeah,
Both of us helped them and helped
Yeah.
us. So stressing, I think we both, you stress a little in the beginning while you still stress because you just don't know.
yeah.
Nothing is permanent, right? You don't take anything for granted.
Granted, no.
Don't take anything for granted. Who's more likely to say, it'll be fine? Me or you?
Probably you.
Yeah, I think so. Although you're
But
pretty easy going now. I mean, you just,
Well, we have more savings than we did when we were young. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did that for years, and then
Yes.
we had to hit it every time. And
Yeah.
since there's no kids in the house anymore, we don't have to hit it every time.
No, it's like I
And-
said, we've been blessed, but we have some money put away. And I think that's the thing that we're trying to get across. Being an older couple, we're a little more set in our ways. Younger couple, you've got a lot of things. You've got kids, you've got cars, you've got homes that are more expensive.
Oh, God.
We bought this house for $39,000, right? And I bought a car, the car we just bought a couple years ago, 2 years ago, for $36,000. Now think about that for a second.
It's the same price as our house.
And my dad used to always say, I'm not paying for a car that costs more for the house. Well, back then, he paid for a house for, I think it was $15,000. Might have been cheaper than that.
It might have.
And now we're paying $300,000. Well, let's do it this way. Let's say $200,000
to $300,000 for just a basic
home.
house.
And
Yes.
that depends on where you live.
And and what
if you live in
state, near
California,
a city,
That's
or
right. You live in Virginia. It's
you
gonna
live
cost more.
closer to a city than I mean,
it's
Yeah.
tough today.
depending on where you live, it starts at $300,000.
My heart
for
goes
a
out to you
decent-
young people wanting to, And then you have, let's not forget, student loans.
Oh yeah.
I
My
mean-
student loan payment was $50.
Student loans
My kids
alone.
my kids have 600 or more in student loan payments.
And I'm going to
That's
be,
awful.
I don't think should be controversial, but I'm going to say it. If you have to have a student loan, why can't student loans be 2%?
Yeah, they
Why do they have
say
to be
they're
9,
giving
10%?
you. And when the kids go to school and they're signing off on these every month, they go into the financial advisor and they sign off every quarter, whatever,
Yeah.
every semester on these loans. They say that they're low interest rate, but when you get them, they're 9%. To me, that's not low interest rate.
They might be
That-
5 or 6 now, but still.
But still, that's not as low. They should be low,
Not when you're-
and it should show whether they go to class
Yep.
and whether they're doing good in school. They should get a better rate. If
Yep.
they're not there for schooling, then hit them with a big
Yeah,
one.
especially when you're talking about, and school's not cheap. You can go, you're going to spend over 100,000. That's low end.
Yeah,
That's low end.
if you go to a 4-year college.
Yeah, it's low end. So,
I mean, you can find scholarships and stuff depending on what trade you're going
Yeah.
into, but
all right, let's do control versus trust. Does handling the money mean more control?
I think it does to some people.
Oh, I think so too. I think it says you have to rein in the other person. I think that's why people like to keep their money
Separate.
so they can't control.
Oh yeah, well,
They're
I mean that's
happy,
been
you know.
issues in people that we
Yeah.
know that
But sometimes you have.
they've had issues like okay,
But
if
sometimes
you
have
do
to
that,
control.
then I get to keep my overtime in my own account, and I get to do what I want with my overtime.
But
And
sometimes there
they,
has to be
you know,
control, don't you think? And if it gets to a point where you might even need a third party, where it's just so bad, because with casinos, and God bless the people that are trying to get over a gambling addiction or any type of addiction. Sometimes you have to have a little bit of control. But we're talking about like what kind in a marriage.
Yeah,
You got to be careful with.
I mean, you
you should have some
I bought boots, so
communication.
you get extra money next month, or you know what I
And
mean.
you bought 3
that's-
T-shirts, so guess what?
I got.
Yeah, I'm buying.
You bought 2 toolboxes.
Yeah, I bought 2 toolboxes,
and
so that means you get
yeah, I get
$600 worth of stuff.
Oh yeah, because yours were more
Yeah.
expensive.
They
than
were.
mine,
That's
yeah.
right. So you got to even it up.
Yeah, some people are like that. I mean,
Do you think one person handle finances without power and balance? And I think so. I think you can handle it.
we did it for years.
We did it.
I mean, I
You did
remember giving
everything.
you $5 for a record every week.
Oh yeah, I used to buy 45s, but I think I like the idea. For me, okay. You probably back then, I'm sure you stressed, and you kept a lot of that from me.
I just
I mean,
Yeah.
you didn't. And although I will say my expenses other than 45s and
that was your
CDs
spending money, and
wasn't as big as
yeah,
it is
you
now.
just that was your spending money.
Yeah,
and-
like right now, I want to buy cameras and I want to buy, this and that to make it even more,
I think
but-
once we get set up in the other room,
Yeah, it's
we
going to
can
take time.
get it.
Yeah.
It's set up and keep it set up. It's going to make it so much easier, but we still haven't gotten everything cleaned out.
Yeah.
He did clean out.
Yes, and
He did clean out.
I did, and now
And
we'll
it's
talk about
gonna-
that
yeah,
a little later.
Another day.
We'll bring that up after tomorrow.
Yeah.
Our next one. Should both partners always know where the money is going?
Yeah, I think
I
they
think so.
should, especially if, like, say one's doing it and there's no plan for savings at all. Like when we were first married, there was no plan for savings. Like I said, when you did overtime, that's when the savings came in, and
Yeah.
you knew you had to do so much overtime in 6 months,
Oh, yeah.
or we couldn't
Yeah.
pay our
Yeah.
insurances
Yes.
and stuff.
Yeah.
That's how we made it.
Yeah.
If you didn't do overtime, and that's when my family came in because your mom cleaned offices on Saturdays.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so my family
Yeah.
would come in and watch our, because I had a rotating schedule. I worked Saturdays because I had Monday off, Tuesday off, Wednesday off. So if you were working Saturday and it wasn't my Saturday to be off, my mom or my sister would come over
Right.
and watch RJ for
Yeah.
us. And, that's how we made it because we weren't paying anyone to babysit all that
let's
time.
talk about, too, something that needs to be said. During all this, we still tithed our money.
10%. The first
still tithe our
10% we
money.
made went to the church.
And I'd like to say we're doing, but I'm not doing as like I used to. I'm
Well,
trying to be more, but we are.
it was easier
we are
when we went to
doing-
church all the time.
But we are doing more tithing in a way that if people need help, we're kind of
We're
throwing
helping
our
them. Yeah.
help that way. So I'm considering it, we're still helping. It's not helping the church, but it's helping people that need the help.
Yeah.
So, and money did stretch. It did.
Yeah.
It was there. We never were in bankruptcy.
No, we've never,
You know.
ever.
Here's the final question for this segment. Is not knowing the finances a red flag or just a division of labor? See, I think it's kind of a red flag.
It can be a red flag, especially if
I think it is.
say the man is the one working all the time and he dishes out, here's so much grocery money to the woman,
Yeah.
and then you don't know if your name's on anything. It could be not on your house,
yeah.
not on your car, not on anything. Something happens to him.
Yeah, you don't.
It
Then
depends
what?
on what state you're in and what rules are with that. What if he has a will and left it to someone else? That would leave you blindsided.
If you're in a relationship, I think these are questions that need to be asked.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I mean, how do you feel about children? How do you feel about, are we going to own our house together? Are we going to, do you want to do so? These are all things that probably need to be asked and talked about.
Well, like with Zach and Sarah, he owned the house before she came into
Right,
the
right.
relationship. So it's only in his
Yes,
name
right.
now.
He could
But
put
I
her name if he
believe-
wanted to.
Yeah,
but
he could, but I believe that he doesn't feel that it's only his now.
he doesn't. He doesn't. And,
he
and they're not
doesn't.
looking to stay there, but that's not the point.
Yeah,
You're
the
right,
point is, and I'm sure, and if anything happened to him, we would make sure that that
Oh,
was in her name
absolutely.
or whatever. But
Yeah.
the thing about it is, you have to discuss those things.
You do.
Yeah, but
Yep. So I think that there is a red flag. Here's the other thing. It keeps coming in my head. Like when we were buying the cars, we talked about we're going to need a car.
and that's why you had ordered the truck.
I ordered the truck first, and then we
Waited over
over a year and a half. When we ended up, in the meantime, we bought the Honda.
But in the meantime, your truck kind of
And and you still needed to go back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
We had the Escape, which Ford Escape, we had a great car.
it
Great
lasted
car.
us. It did
Honda
well for us.
CRV, love it. I love it. Anyway,
Safety features
but
are
what I'm
great.
getting at is, we talked about it. My thing was, if you show up with a car and don't tell the other person, I don't care if it's used,
Which I
new,
know
whatever.
people who have done that.
To me, why can't we discuss it? And I don't know.
People like to do that as gifts and stuff.
I know,
and
but that's-
we never
yeah,
ever
I
did
don't-
something big like that for a gift.
I'm afraid we
because
couldn't
if he
afford
would
it.
have went to and got a new car for Christmas for us and just came home with it, I
okay.
would have been like scrambling to figure out how we were going to afford
Let's just
it.
be honest. I'd be sleeping in the shed.
Yeah, I
For at
mean,
least a week.
I would be like, well, how am I going to do that?
Yeah.
I got to refinangle all our finances,
All right, let's talk about real life money fights.
Ooh,
Talk about unexpected purchases. Now, I
What
told
happened?
you about the toolboxes.
yeah.
I
Because
told
they
you.
were on sale, plus you had
Yeah.
another 15%
Yeah,
off,
I told
whatever.
you about those.
You got a good
well,
deal
I had
on
mentioned
them.
this last year. I
Yeah,
said,
you
I
wanted
can't
to do
take
it.
it
Yeah,
no more.
yeah.
And I bought these toolboxes for I love them. I love them. I already been able to find tools. It's a lot easier. Cleaned out a lot of stuff. Very happy. All right, but if I'd have brought those home, and you come home and what's this? Hey, I spent $600
We're not
bucks on
we're not as tight as we used to be. So.
I know, but it's. So let's talk about. Did we ever do that? I don't think we did. I don't think we,
We
did
didn't do any of
unexpected.
that when we were young. Because
I can't
just a
remember any.
pregnancy coming up was unexpected. Oh no!
Yeah, especially when you're on the pill. Hey, I'm
Yeah.
pregnant, huh?
Yep.
How about
we got a pill, baby?
subscription overload? This is easy to do because everything is subscription.
Oh yeah, you
All
can
your TV
subscribe
stuff,
on your phone.
your
on
phones.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. You could have $5-10 coming out and you think, it's only $5. It's like when you
But
go.
it adds up if you got 5 or 6 of them.
Well, we were talking about this the other day at work when you're talking about going out to eat every day. You're spending
Oh yeah,
$10,
for
I'll say
lunch. I know people who
at
eat
least
out
$10
lunch every day.
a day.
I think that's helped our kids
And we're
because
not
they're not going to the office. Not going to the office helped them
Helped them,
not spend that $5 every day or $7
adds up
every day.
over time.
Oh yeah. And I know RJ had said to me, well, it costs just as much for you to go and get. I said, no, I spent $5 to $7 on all this stuff to make my salads at home, and that's for the whole week. You spend that in one day when you go out and get a burger and a salad, or a burger and fries, or chicken, or whatever you get. One sandwich is that.
Right.
And I might spend $2 more for all week's lunches.
It gets expensive. And I guess my question to you, you can comment, was there ever a purchase that your partner brought home and you're like, what? Or unexpected purchase
I
or
would say
whatever?
like pets too.
Yeah, bringing home a dog.
Pet is a constant, which I did that to you.
No, well,
we discussed it. We
I
went to
didn't want
Sea
one.
Ranger. You didn't want one.
I didn't want a dog. I never had a dog.
The kids wanted one.
Kids wanted a dog.
The kids loved him because he peed on me.
Guess who won the dog argument?
I brought home the dog.
They won a dog. There's a dog sitting right over here, right out here waiting for her.
Yeah.
He's right there. We should maybe maybe we'll take a picture of Rigby and have him in the site. But yeah, bringing home dogs, that could be, especially if you already have a dog or two.
Well, yeah, and it's just an expense. You figure vet, like I knew who I was getting the dog from. So I didn't mind paying for him because he had always shots. He had always things, and I took him to the vet. She took him to, and it was not a real expensive vet, luckily.
Right.
And it did work out, but it was an expense, especially the first time we went on vacation, and my sister watched him, and we came home, and he was a mess. He is allergic to fleas, and she lived out in the country, and he had fleas, and off to the vet we went, and it was a couple $100 when we came home to get him cleared up, and he was so fluffy, and they shaved him all bald in places and had medicine on him. He was
Ranger.
a mess.
That was Ranger.
Yeah, it was. He was a mess.
Did we ever have
or so.
Did you ever have a small purchase that we had a big argument over? Like, we'll ask you, what's the smallest purchase that caused the biggest argument? I am trying to think of something that maybe I bought. To be honest, I didn't have control of anything, so I didn't really know.
I usually doled out how much you had to spend.
I had $5 or $10 here.
And
and
if
there.
you wanted something bigger, you just held it for a couple weeks, and then you
I can't think of a small
got
purchase
something
that
bigger.
caused us a big fight.
I can't
You
either
know.
because then I was always
Not that we didn't fight, because we did fight.
Well,
Let's be honest.
and I was always aware, like if I needed something, or if I would liked a pair of shoes, when I worked at the mall, and even when I didn't, I watched them
Yeah.
till they went on
You were very
sale.
good
I
at
never
that.
ever paid like full price for things when I was younger. And you know what? I still don't. Right now, I want a coat.
I know you do
Well,
want to
I don't want a coat. I like the coat I have,
Yeah,
but
but
I don't want to put a new zipper in
The
it.
zipper is going to cost more than the coat.
Yeah, and so, but I won't be willing to spend, like I'm not going to spend $100, $200 on a coat. I'm just not going to do it.
Okay, let's talk about what do we think actually works. Okay, so
Okay.
we went through all these. So what have we learned? Have we learned like regular check-ins? Like if you have separate accounts, or if one person, maybe you check in and talk about, you take a night or an evening and just say, okay, let's talk about where are we? What do we
Where
need
are
to
our
do?
finances? Do we need to
I
put
think
more
that's
away?
a good.
Do we
Don't you?
need
I
to?
think
Yes,
that'd be great
I
to
think,
do
yeah.
that. Regular
Or sit
check-in.
down and do a budget together once a month or once a
Speeding-
quarter.
Spending limits, right?
Yeah, or
Spending
once
limits.
a quarter, even once a quarter, just do a budget together. Okay, you have this much to spend, and if you don't spend it, let's try to put that away. If you could spend half of it, then we could put more away.
What about having fun money? Should each person have a little bit of fun money?
Yeah,
Depending
I
on the budget?
mean, but we've done that. And I know a lot of people nowadays, like kids, like our kids, are moving home with their parents with a kid in tow to put away money for a house because they moved out on their own and they got married and had a kid, or they, whatever their relationship is. And then they found out that, guess what? I'm paying over $1,000 a month for an apartment rent. I can't put anything away. Mom and Dad, can I come home, help you with utilities and food, and put the rest of my money away so that someday I can have a house of my own?
So some are doing that.
That's a lot of them are doing that.
Because of student loans. That's the
Yeah,
biggest thing.
I mean, yeah. And they can't put any money away because they have, say, $1,200 rent for a little 1 or 2 bedroom apartment.
Exactly.
And then they have a $600, they might each have $600 in student loan payments.
Wow, probably more than that.
So that's another $1,200 going out, it's a lot.
It's a lot. And then transparency over perfection. I think if you're transparent, you tell this is what we're doing with the money, and you both come to.
But I know I did buy things without
I'm sure I
asking
did
you.
too. I know I did. I just don't think it wasn't anything that was, I would say, over $100.
No,
I
mean the boots that I were watching was on sale, but I would tell you I was watching boots. Like, I'm watching them. When they go down to this price, I'm grabbing them
I
up.
think if it's, especially if it's grocery, they worry about groceries.
Remember when pennies went out and you were with me?
Oh, yeah. We bought all those boots.
We bought 4 or 5 pairs of boots because I couldn't decide which ones were.
bought them all.
And you were like, they're $4.
Yeah, they're
they're
$4.
$5. They're $10. You got all 4 for the price of one pair of boots. So just get them all.
Okay, let's do these are fun, quick fire questions. Real quick. Answer whatever comes first. Joint accounts or separate?
Joint. That's how it's worked for us.
Ask permission or just inform?
Ask permission.
Budget first or spend first?
Budget first.
Who stresses more about retirement?
You, I guess. I don't know.
I
I went
want to
ahead and retire.
I can't wait to retire.
He can't wait to retire.
I'm ready.
And even though I'm retired,
I don't stress about it because you're retired and we got through it.
I don't feel like I'm retired, though.
Yeah. By the way, we don't make any money on YouTube. So all these, well, that's another story. I'll talk about that next time. We'll talk about YouTube.
That's why you need to subscribe.
Yeah. Well, it ain't about the money. It's about trying to give you some insight on, we're old, but we know there are maybe some young people out there watching that communicate. I think that's the biggest thing. Just find a way to communicate.
Yes.
And last one, or no, 2 more. Cash or card?
Cash.
Yeah, cash. Who hides receipts? I don't have anything to hide.
We don't
So
hide
these are
anything.
questions you can ask each
if
other.
If you're doing any of those things, you may want to question your
if you're hiding.
relationship and your spending money habits. And sometimes the job just doesn't fit. You've been laid off from a job and had to take a lesser job. And the job just didn't pay the bills. And you had to work 60 hours a week just to pay the bills.
Do the overtime,
And I went back to work at that point.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah,
Food's got to be on the table.
Yeah, once you're already established, if something like that happens, you have to work together to make that money. Whether that's finagling kids, I'll go get a midnight job because that's all we can do because we don't want to pay daycare or whatever that is. You have to struggle through those times till something else. And I tell you, if you leave it to God, something else will come up that pays the bills.
I will say that we had our own. I had our own business. We had a video store back in the late 80s, early 90s. I had it for about 10 years. And then, things changed, of course, more. You can find everything on TV now.
Pay for
And so stressing was tough because we had to go through bankruptcy. And I remember just, trying to figure out how are we going to do this?
That was the store, though, not personal.
That was the store, not personally. It was a store because it was an LLC. We were able to separate the two, but it's a scary time.
We were able to pay off everything.
We were able to, but what happened was, it was kind of weird. I've been praying about it, and I've been stressing about it because who do I contact? How do I get this fixed? And I'll never forget, I remember to this day, I just opened the phone book, and the first name popped up, as to talk about bankruptcy. We went to meet them. We met them. Everything was done. We went to this. It was like this thing where they were doing this financing at a hotel. We went there. Everything was paid. The bank took what they wanted. All the other credit cards. There might have been one little one that.
But we really didn't.
The movie
No
place,
one
the
really.
place. But
We didn't
I
really
stressed.
shortchange anyone.
No, we didn't.
Really
But it was
bad.
a stressful time. So I don't know how people
Go
deal
through
with
things
that
like
because
that. They helped
I was
us
stressed.
consolidate, sell off the
Yeah.
stock. So, yeah.
That's a little different than what we're talking about. But as far as stressing, sometimes you got to give it to a higher power because you can't do it yourself. Mm-hmm. You got to find, and sometimes he'll
And at that
find
point, you had to go get a job.
Oh well, yeah. I had
And for a while, you worked with friends
I had worked with friends who
because we couldn't make.
I was doing side
The
jobs.
store
whatever.
wasn't paying you enough money to
No.
pay our bills.
No.
So he was having me cover store hours,
Yeah.
having other people cover store hours
Yeah.
at part-time wages so that he could go and work with other people to make $400
It
that
was
day
a
or
tough
whatever.
time. But
you
anyway,
know?
that's a story we can tell at another time. But
Mm-hmm.
hopefully you have better luck with your finances and that you and your partner communicate.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're trying to talk about is communicate with one another. Talk about what you'd like to buy, what not to buy, whatever. But
I mean,
just-
we all want it all.
Oh, I want it all too. I want to hit the lottery, but you see where
we
that's
want to
going.
dress like, and,
Yeah. But anyway,
And I see things on like TikTok and on ads like, oh, they can't go out on girls' night because they don't have a good outfit. I'm like, you don't have anything in your cupboard
come on,
that'll
there's-
work.
You can wear anything nowadays. It
yeah, I
doesn't
mean,
even matter.
nowadays I've seen them out with their pajama bottoms on.
Yeah,
so
so-
I'm like, really, you had to have a new pair of jeans for girl night? I'm like,
You can go out
Yeah.
and have a good time.
you dig in that cupboard and find an old pair of jeans and put a new rip in them.
Whatever's new will become, or whatever's old will become new
new.
anyway. So if you're
Yeah, I
thinking
think the
about throwing it
baggy
out,
style jeans
they're
are
all back in
in.
again. So it doesn't matter. So let us know in our comments about what you liked, what you didn't like about what we had to say about money, and hopefully you're not having those issues, or maybe you have a big purchase that caused an argument or a small purchase. Let us know, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook or X, and also
Like, share, and subscribe.
we'd really appreciate that very much. Thanks so much for watching and listening. We're out.
Have a great week.